Hello everyone. Today we will discuss the effect of poverty on the quality of life and the sustainable strategies for solving poverty problems at the household level. Case study people in the three southern border of Thailand. Outline of our presentation will be introduction, problem statement, research question and research objective, significance of the research, a literature review, research methodology and the conclusion.
To start with introduction, poverty, different people, they believe different things in poverty when we talk about poverty. For example, some people, they believe poverty, it means lack of income and food and shelter, while the other believe poverty is a lack of ability, skills, and social opportunity and economic injustice. According to United Nations 1998, poverty is a lack basic capacity to take part effectively in society, which means the people they don't have enough food and clothes, and also they don't have a school or clinic to go. In the problem statement, in 2020, the global poverty has increased for the first time in over 20 years as the coronavirus. Around 120 million people are living in poverty. There are a lot of people in Thailand that living in poverty. Around 1.5 million Thais were estimated to enter poverty in 2020 as coronavirus. Most of poor people they are living in three areas. For example, Batani, Yala, and Narthawat. We have two research objectives. First, to examine the effect of poverty on the quality of the life at household level in the southern part of Thailand, and what are sustainable strategies for solving poverty problems at household level in three southern part of Thailand. In this question, also we have two: how poverty has an influence on the lives of the quality of us at household level in southern border of Thailand, and our sustainable strategies can solve the poverty problems at household level in three southern border of Thailand. What sustainable development goals can be incorporated into this research? In this research, we only focus on poverty because the poverty is the major problem and can cause another issues like economic inequality, social instability, crime, and causes delays in national development. Our purpose of this study is to examine the factors that contributed to access the poverty solution and to create a strategy for sustainable poverty of solution. Significance of this research. This study is very important for some reasons. First, we will develop some strategies that can reduce the poverty. And the next, to understand how the poverty affected the quality of the life of the people who live in Batani, Yala, and Narthawat. And last, this study will help helpful for scholars who want to make research about the effect of poverty on the quality of the life. In literature review, in this study, we will use two theories. The first one is orthodox economic theory and subculture of poverty. Orthodox economic theory, this study we will use because it provides us to understand how economic class has influence on the poverty of society, where subculture poverty, it provides us with understanding the level of poverty and causes much emphasis.
There are many factors for poverty. One of them is individual factor that fuel poverty includes individual attitude, human capital, and welfare participation. These factors emphasize on individuals' effort and responsibilities to acquire basic needs and to have better life status. The second factor is the cultural and neighborhood that relates to the influence of people residential environment tend to shape their poverty or success. This means both poor people and rich people will have different beliefs, values, and behaviors associated with their status. These things is transmitted to their generation and will form the structure of the country for future. The third factor is structural factor and a large economic and has been shown the main reason of poverty where there is a big gap between chief executive and laborers. Finally, the environment factors where there is a natural disaster has a significant impact on areas of Thailand that leads people to become unemployed and homeless. The impact that caused by poverty, mainly in carbon dioxide emission and economic growth, is examined along with some other variables, namely health expenditure, poverty, agriculture value added, growth, industrial value added, growth, and corruption. This means that many undeveloped countries suffer from having the minimal right to clean air, and this will lead them to other health issues and will cause a higher mortality rate. They tend to accept to become the area of pollution because the need of the money. And many generations have already quit the school in order to work and live, which will lead them to go back to the same circle of poverty.
There are some study about the strategy to solve the poverty problem. For the first study, conduct 4 ways to reduce the poverty problem in Malaysia, which consists of educate and lift the level of education, provide government-funded empowerment, fair income distribution to improve the quality of life, and also the create policy that support the economic stimulation. 3 vision of poverty solving: the decreasing in expense, increase income, and make opportunity. And the last one is decrease in expense. The next study is about the successful factors of the poverty reduction. The factor is consists of participation, distribution, policy corruption, eradication, and the public awareness. And the last is the top 10 solution to cut the poverty and grow the middle class, like create job, raise the minimum wage, increase the earned income tax credit for childless workers, support pay equity, and provide paid leave and paid sick days. The last is the successful factor of the poverty solution. This is the study in Sri Lanka, which consists of the deposition factor, experience of implementation officers, number of people involved in the implementation, and a capability factor. This is the factor can relate about the factor of poverty reduction. And the last is the factor which can use be a tool to poverty reduction. In Bangladesh, the result reveals that the utilization of labors and also the efficiency of land allocation will lead to the change in the economic of Bangladesh and leads to the poverty reduction.
In order to achieve the purpose of this study, a research design was a qualitative approach was used in order to hear the lived experience of the people who experience the poverty in the southern of Thailand. The participants of this study will be citizens, youth and women who are ages between 21 and 30 years old. The context of the study will be 14 provinces in the southern of Thailand. Our data collection will use semi-structured interviews for around 30 minutes by using Zoom link. The interview will be recorded after getting agreement from the participants to record the interviews. We developed an interview protocol which was available on Appendix A. The data analysis, individual interviews will be analyzed through using the procedures of Marshall and Rossman, and then all of the recorded files will be transcribed by following the procedures by Brown and Clark. The researchers will individually analyze the data, and after that we will meet in order to have agreement on the themes and some themes, and to discuss the disagreements in the themes in order to achieve a high percentage of interreliability. Trustworthiness will be provided through the 3 phases. The first one is related to resubmitting the recorded files after transcribing it to the participants in order to reread or to add or to edit. And the second one is the agreement between the researchers about the themes and sub-themes. And the third one is to invite an experts in the field of business and poverty and to take a portion around 10% and to record this data based on the coding book developed by the researchers. And finally, the conclusion we think that our study will be beneficial for other contexts, like who are suffering from poverty and unstable and violation in the Middle East countries. Thank you.